Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. We are back with Mystic Destiny Serendipity Aeons Hikaru's route. Let's go. Ages Gone Past, Cosmos of the Demigod, Day 5. When I awake the next morning, Shizuka is already back from wherever it was that she went. They're packing up our things, but I notice that Hikaru seems unusually down as he does. Shizuka seems to notice as well, as she stops what she's doing and stares at his hunched-over form. Did something happen last night? I watch as Shizuka leans over slightly and rests a hand on Hikaru's shoulder. He stops what he's doing and looks up at her, his expression unchanging. The moment bothers me, somehow, and I look away. I still don't know what they are, but how can I just ask that? I realize I had half hoped that telling Hikaru what she had done would change his opinion of her somewhat, but it doesn't seem like it has. I don't even know why I care so much anyway. She was there before me, so it's only natural. Ugh, why am I getting like this? I'm here to save Hikaru, that's all. But my mind betrays me and forces me to remember how kind he was to me last night.
But if you can remember how far you have come while looking ahead to the future, to whatever it is you are fighting for, then I know you can find whatever it is you are seeking, or achieve any dream that you are reaching toward.
I'm not seriously getting feelings for this guy, am I? I clasp my hands to my cheeks suddenly. No. Why is my face so hot? You can't be serious, Munchie. Just because he was nice to you once, there's a part of me that answers that wasn't when these feelings, whatever they are, actually started. But I shut down that train of thought immediately and clench my fists. It'd be a seriously bad idea to fall for a guy like Hikaru. Besides that, he won't even remember any of this if I succeed. Things will go back to the way they always were close enough. There's just no way this can end well for me, so I need to just focus on the task at hand for now. I nod to myself and force a smile. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Get his soul fragments, fix all the mess I've caused, and get back to my normal life. With all Shizuka's taught me, I'm sure I won't need the extra classes anymore either. With that decided, I get up to join my two strange companions. We're finally headed into the village this morning. After days of walking and seeing nothing but forests and precious few other travelers, I'm really excited to visit a town. Hikaru, however, hasn't said a word all morning. His face has been incredibly grim, even for him. He didn't even put up a fight when I told him I could at least walk up the steps by myself. Shizuka has been quiet as well. As the endless steps progress, I find myself finally unable to stand the silence. Hikaru, walking slightly behind both of us, merely grunts in response. Are you feeling all right? Another grunt. I can't tell if it's supposed to be good or bad, and I sigh. Right then. So much for heartwarming talk bringing us closer. I decide to just shut up, since apparently everyone prefers that this morning. You'd think they'd be cheerful about getting to their goal after traveling so long, but maybe there's something I don't know about going on. Could it have to do with why Shizuka left by herself last night? Or something to do with the town itself? I rack my brain, trying to think of all the possibilities, but in the end, without any more information, I can't really come to a conclusion. About halfway up the steps, or what I pray is halfway up the steps, we sit down to eat some lunch. I'm not sure I've ever had this many rice balls in my life. At least this combined with all the walking should have helped me lose a few extra pounds, I guess. Shizuka smiles at me as if she knows what I'm thinking. We will be able to get some more food in the town. I'm sure this must have been difficult for you to get used to. I'm still not entirely used to Shizuka comforting me, but I nod. What I really can't wait is to eat some meat, and any kind of meat really, or vegetables. Ugh, both sound so good right now. Shizuka giggles and I have to school my face so my mouth doesn't just drop open. I completely understand. The first meal after a long travel is always the best. I look over at Hikaru, who would have normally joined in the conversation by now, but he looks to be deep in thought. I glance over at Shizuka, and she seems to be feeling the same way I do. Maybe she doesn't know what's going on either. Ugh! These two are so secretive. Not that I'm much better, I guess. I decide to break the silence with a neutral question. So, can you tell me anything about the village up ahead? You said it was called Miyazawa? Hikaru looks up at me then, and then immediately goes back to brooding. In truth, I do not know much about it. I've only briefly visited once. I only know that they need assistance and with some kind of monster in a nearby lake. So, of course, we had to come. A monster. My mind instantly goes back to the Japanese myths that I know and I shudder. I certainly hope not all of those are real. After everything I've learned in the past few months, though, I'm sure whatever it is terrifying. I bite my lip. Timidly, I try to call out to the gods just to be extra sure they aren't going to respond. Galen? Haruka? Hello? They don't. Of course. I don't know what I expected, if anything, but I can't help but wonder. Just what the hell are they doing anyway? Haruka sits at a table with her fellow gods. Is this supposed to be kind of like their point of view now? I don't know. The table is made out of stone or perhaps marble. It does not matter, for it floats above the god of chaos's pool of water, unheeding of such things as gravity. Haruka, sitting in the matching chair, gingerly reaches for her teacup. It is with shaking hands that she brings it to her lips as she watches the other two gods. Oh, geez. Mikoto, sits to the left of Haruka. Her delicately crossed legs beneath the table bellies the casual, almost boyish demeanor she demonstrates above. The time goddess lounges, her elbow on the table, face resting in her hand as she sips her tea. She looks across the table to the god of chaos, who sits on Haruka's right. Have you been to the Divine Realms recently?
I was invited, rather recently, by a certain trio of gods. They showed me a fascinating little box they thought might contain me.
Contain you? People are still even attempting that? Laughter escapes her lips, half amused, half something else.
Hope springs eternal, I suppose, even with gods. As human as that is.
Haruka tries to steady her hand as she places the teacup back on the table. She asks herself how this ended up happening, but she realizes that there is no certain answer. Once they had sent Munchie off, Galen simply offered Tsuneka tea. The goddess has shrugged and said sure, leaving Haruka with her mouth hanging open. A table had been summoned, and that is now how the unlikely trio sat, discussing godly affairs as if it were gossip. Haruka could not find it in herself to participate in the conversation, because in all honesty, she was terrified of the two gods. And everything in her divine being told her that this arrangement was wrong. Divinity represented order, and chaos went against everything that stood for. Humans aren't so different from us, really. We're all fools. I am curious, though. What happened with the box? Did you leave the idiots alive?
Fools they may be, but killing them would have been a waste. And I prefer not to deal with angry little gods attempting to avenge some half-wits.
Yet, despite being born with the power to keep the timelines in order, Tsuneka was the one taking advantage of the chaos. while Galen was the one trying to restore something very precious to her. It all made Haruka feel very confused, but in her heart she knows that Galen is kind and fun to be with. And Tsuneka, well, she does not know how to feel about her. Haruka promises herself to spend some quiet time in nature to clear her mind of all this when it is all over, and focuses on the conversing gods instead. I'm sure you're well aware that if you annihilated all of us now, then you wouldn't have to deal with any of this anymore. I wonder if you aren't just too kind. Galen falls quiet for a moment. His eyes turn somewhere far away, beyond the Colosseum walls. His lips twist into a melancholy smile. That is not something I will do. His voice is quiet, and the words themselves are strained, with an almost overwhelming sadness coloring them. Haruka sends a quiet wish that Munchie is doing all right, and has located Hikaru already. After our little lunch break, we begin to walk again, but it started raining. I will take care of keeping us dry, if that is all right with you, Munchie. I look at her in surprise, still not quite used to her calling out to me this way, but I manage to nod. Her eyes suddenly glow bright green, and with a small flick of her wrist, she creates an invisible bubble around us. The rain slides right off, no longer drenching us. Is it kind of like the same situation with Tatsuya, with the water and the snow? If you haven't seen that, go back to, I think he was my second route, and you'll know. She gives us a little smile and wordlessly waves her hand again, almost instantly drying us off. We continue to walk up what seems like never-ending steps in silence. I watch the steps under my feet, only half paying attention to our surroundings. I hear Hikaru gasp suddenly and almost trip over one of the steps. Who is this? She is interesting looking. She almost looks a little bit like Tsuneka. I look up to see a girl with a traditional umbrella standing on the steps above us. Oh, maybe not. Is it Seina, I guess? Seina, yeah.
Seina?
Hikaru. The girl drops her umbrella and runs to Hikaru. Before he can as much as react, she throws her arms around him, burying her face in his chest. It's you. I can't believe you came back.
I had to. You needed help.
Hikaru gives the small young woman a gentle pat on the back with one hand. I glance at Shizuka, wondering how she's taking the situation, and see her calmly watching the two with a smile. Seina seems to realize there's other people there for the first time and grows shy. She lets go of Hikaru and holds onto his arm instead. Hello, I'm Seina. Are you guys Hikaru's friends? The question is a simple one, but in that moment, it makes me realize that I don't even really know if I am or not. And who knows what Shizuka is to him. But Hikaru answers for everyone.
They are my companions. They are here to help our village. This is Lady Shizuka and Lady Munchie.
Lady Shizuka, the legendary sorceress? Shizuka gracefully nods her head in response. I feel kind of lame next to Shizuka, like an afterthought, but technically, I do have all of Shizuka's powers, I guess. It's just that other people don't know that. It's strange to see my mother recognized like this. There was so much I didn't know growing up. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that any of this is even happening or was ever real. Seina looks at me. You look just alike. Are you related? Sisters, maybe? We're related, yes. Hikaru jumps in to divert the conversation, perhaps sensing my discomfort, as having to explain the nature of my relationship with Shizuka.
Seina, we meant to be here earlier. Can you tell me the situation in the village as we walk?
Of course. As we continue to walk up the steps, Seina tells us that there has been a monster terrorizing people who go anywhere near the lake. I suspect that it might be a kappa. I will let you guys go here. I hope you are enjoying, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!